I would love to get kind of some of your thoughts around how you're thinking about kind of the roles and responsibilities that MOPS has kind of purview over these days, right? It seems that it used to go from a model of an anchor system like a marketing automation platform like HubSpot, Pardot, Marketo, then kind of moved a little bit more onto the customer relationship marketing, customer relationship CRM side of like Salesforce, Zoho, HubSpot, etc.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
now it feels like even more things are on top of those two anchoring systems now. Ops folks have to figure out the data warehousing. They have to figure out kind of other systems that kind of build into the ecosystem. So how do you think about kind of stacking up a team with these different competencies? Like how should teams or how have you seen kind of companies deal with this kind of growing responsibility list specifically in ops?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've seen winning versions, or what I would say is a winning version of the formula, and I think I've seen the opposites, whether that be no action or just not recognizing that this is exploding. Right, as you mentioned, it's not just the CRM and the marketing automation platform anymore. What do we do from here? So to really get the right people in the right place, right? There's an old analogy: get the right people on the right seat on the right bus before you start driving it. Right. We have to really kind of think of it in silos. And I like the Kanban board, in terms of roles and responsibilities. So, as you mentioned, the marketing operations person is now kind of crossing that threshold in the sales ops, doing a little bit of rev ops, probably doing it like data management. They probably shouldn't be doing anymore, whatever it is. And then there's executive level folks not really communicating down the line in terms of when they're thinking about making these purchases or even just making these purchases for some of these third parties. What happens then is like you could probably go back to them and say, no, well, we could have done this with the tech stack we already have, but it's a little late now. So I guess I'll learn this tool I never heard of and so and so. So to put the, that it starts at the top, it really does. But to put the right people in the right place after that is somebody's got to be the czar of tech, right? I don't know if it falls in like a CTO type role, but there needs to be almost a VP of marketing operations, but at least a senior director of marketing operations. And that person needs to be the one to kind of dictate. And I almost see it as a, Google Doc or a spreadsheet where it's like, okay, here's all our whole tech stack, or even like you want to go down, don't be shy until what it is. Like even name the CMS and anything related. Who's the owner for it, right? Whether that's a team or a person. If it's a team, then name the person on the team. And then within that, keep going and say, okay, does that make the most sense? Are we weak there? Meaning, is somebody doing it that really shouldn't be, or is doing us a favor because if they didn't take on this tool, everything they built in the past might fall down, right? So it's really about getting that like figured out and siloed, put on paper. Obviously, as the director of marketing ops or Martech, you go up and you roll that up to a VP, C-level person and say, this is what I really think we need to succeed. Again, I've seen this happen and I've seen it, to an extent, most of the time the C-level folks will agree. And maybe you won't get everything you need, but you'll be a lot more scaled than you were before you had this conversation. And then I've seen it where like, well, Johnny or Sally has capacity, so why don't we put them on there? That's not their expertise. And by the time we get them ramped up and even ask them to learn, that's really not even their expertise to be able to take that on. We need more operations type person. So the answer to the question, I think everybody has their role and responsibility. It's just like when that's not defined and, agreed upon kind of from top to bottom, that's where it gets messy.